Welcome to today's Seamlss webinar demo. We welcome everyone from everywhere you are across the country, and I'll get stuck into it straight away. Obviously, the biggest thing with onboarding, engaging, ID checking, document collection, all that sort of stuff within the environment of accounting firms right now. The things that I feel the pain are is that sometimes it's very disjointed, and every time I talk to a different firm, they're usually doing it a very minimalist way, very manual, and it's a lot of back and forth. And we can obviously avoid all that. Had an amazing conversation with a firm at LYD recently where he was onboarding so many people. I was impressed. He had a full-time employee just for onboarding, and he implemented Seamlss, and within no time at all, that person was pushed into other roles because they no longer needed someone to do onboarding because Seamlss took care of it all for them. So who am I? Clayton Wood. I'm a co-founder of Seamlss. I also have my own accounting firm, which is working and operating at the moment. I have an amazing team that support me in that, and obviously Seamlss allows us to be very streamlined in our processes. Oh, this is not the right one, Daniel. Oh, yes, it is. Are you working with an integration partner? So is it you? Are you the decision maker? What's your budget? Who's going to determine what outcomes come from Seamlss? So if you're already using Seamlss, today would be a great little catch up on how you can improve the processes and the way that you use Seamlss now. And on top of that, how can you make it better going forward? Or if you're not doing anything, this is a great way to change the way you're doing it in the firm and make it better. Leads and triage. So this is a very hot topic with everyone I talk to at the moment because most firms don't do a great job of it. So from capturing leads, some firms are just using contact us page on their website. I feel like that's probably the most common. I'm not a big fan of that because it just means you get random little emails and a whole lot of junk and spam into your inbox from your contact us page because all of the bots that want to spam us. But about the leads and the triage, that's the key to this aspect and part of Seamlss, is that we want to be able to triage the leads that come in. What does triage look like? If you're not sure what triage means, that means that we want to identify those kind of clients we want to work with and push along the ones that we don't. So if we've got a bunch of red flags, they might be back years in their taxes, have lots of debt, and blame everyone else for all of their problems. Maybe that's not someone we want to work with. But maybe in the lead it comes through and they're on the right software, they've got a lot of turnover, they've got a number of employees, they are all keen as mustard to join your firm. From that position, you can then onboard them as a client. So we'll get started on the demo. This is the leads dashboard here. So we have all different ways of showing this on the dashboard, so we can sort them by different names and categories and a value. Might have a different status. We might log a different action. So, call this person by Thursday. They were really keen. Might sign that to Clayton. We'll sign it to Daniel today. And we'll put a due date up that was by the end of Feb. Add that action to the lead. And that way, that action will then appear on the lead as one of the items that need to be done. So we can track those different actions and plans. We can sort them by different items, partners, managers, won, lost, tags. You can really drill down on your lead dashboard. Now, the dashboard's probably a lot for a lot of people. You probably don't need it all that much. Same as adding leads. Put in the lead details, give it a description, and an estimated value. So we'll put in here. This guy is amazing. Maybe you put some more information in there. Value the job, enough information. Where did they come from? What was the source? You might put some tags in there so you can track them later, what they're interested in. Generally speaking, the status is always going to be pending. And then if you've got, excuse me, multiple partners and managers, you might also attribute the lead to those people. So that's how you can add leads Once you've added the lead, they're then on your dashboard. You can start triaging them and doing things with them. Now, that is if your firm has a lot of leads and you are actively managing the leads and you're actively doing something with them. I'll be honest, a lot of firms don't have time to handle their leads on an ongoing basis, like a sales process, which is why in Seamlss, I love the lead links, because it doesn't matter if you're a big or small firm, the lead link is your key to success with leads. Add a lead link, really easy, push on the button, create a custom link just for your firm. So if it's a proactive accounting meeting or a discovery call for that client, you can, the client will just simply click on the link. You can put the link anywhere. It's just a link, a web link. So it could go on email, SMS, on your website. It could just be handy to the admin team. So when someone rings, they say, hey, I'd love to be a client. Admin clicks on the form, puts in the client's details, and then submits it. Now, once they submit it, they'll end up on your dashboard. So if I just put in someone's details here, submit it, and then I'll get the form on the email and I'll get started and I'll process that form. And then they'll end up on my lead list. Now, if I edit the form, I can edit the link name. So yours might be new client discovery form. Could be new client tax planning form. You could have anything you want from that link. You can attach the form, build it out to suit yourself. Now, in my firm, the form talks about a bit more, but some people sort of cut it down. It just says name of business, turnover, software, number of employees, things like that. Things that you can determine those red flags from. Once the client completes it, it says, thanks for coming, and then they can book a meeting with me. Now, at your firm, you might not have a booking platform, and that is okay. You can just go return to homepage, and it can send them back to your homepage, and they can start looking around your website if they want to. But the idea is that we've got that form. It's then captured. We can then view them on the list, and then we can then action it. So once the form is there, we can go through and triage them. So I'll bring up the form as a quick example here. Go down to the lead, new client form. And this is the lead. This lead form comes within Seamlss, so you can utilize it. So we're asking for the business name, the ABN, what type of structure is it, what software they're using, are they up to date with the GST and their tax acknowledgements. And then somewhere around here, some firms will delete the rest of the questions. I like to ask how they're feeling, how their business is going. Do they have business plans? Are they getting all the things out of business? Because that's the stuff when I have a meeting with them that I can pull on those to better sell to the client. Now, some firms will stop it up a bit higher because they're going to triage them from that point. So what will happen is they'll fill out the form, and then their client success person will ring, and they'll go, hi, I see that you're keen, you're ticking the right boxes, and then they might ask a few more questions and then book them in with the managing partner. So that allows the managing partner not to be booking new client discovery meetings with the wrong type of clients. When they get the right type of client, they triage, they book, let's go. That is the ideal process that I feel that most firms can implement quickly and easily, and managing those leads within Seamlss and within the firm to make life a hell of a lot easier for you and the team. So from a lead, once we are triaged and we've done the thing, we're like, yep, let's onboard this person. From here, we want to review and onboard. So at this point, we can start onboarding the client. Now, the thing is that this allows us to pull the data from the lead straight into the onboarding process from their name and address and things like that. So the key is with Seamlss, we can onboard directly from a lead, but you don't have to. So not everyone wants to triage leads. Not everyone wants to capture them and do that. And that's fine. I think a lot of people, their key thing is just to onboard their clients a whole lot better, because you're probably doing it manually. Emails, Excel, Word, PDFs, in-person ID checks. Are you doing engagement letter? There's a lot of firms now that I'm still talking to, they're either not doing ID checks or they're not doing engagement letters, which is still blowing my mind. Implement Seamlss, it'll take care of the lot. Now, you might think, why do I need to do all this at once? Well, you don't. You can do it manually and back and forth, and that's why it creates a whole lot of extra work for the team. But if you just use Seamlss, it will just do it all in one process for you. So for today's demo, I'm going to add my new client in the demo. Let's get my email here. So let's go with name. Let's use Hugo again. Hugo down and we've got email. Let's put in email. Hugo. We need a phone number. So my phone number. Excellent. So I got the key details from the client that we need to onboard. This could come from the lead tool or when the person rings up. I'm going to add the different entities. So all the different entities that you're using to your accounting management practice solution, they're all in there. So companies, trusts, whatever it is you want to do. For today's demo, let's just do a company. Done, and we'll move on. Now, the other thing is with the ID checks. So we've got ID checks built into Seamlss. Maybe you're doing none because you've already ID'd them somewhere else. Maybe you're going to do it manually in person, but maybe you're going to do it online through the platform. Within Seamlss, you can use Stripe Identity. There is an additional $5 charge for that. We include the biometrics as part of that charge. There's no additional charges for biometrics. It's a Stripe biometric ID check. Or the other option is the visual source. Because I'm using the camera today, I'll use the visual source. Now, in the next few weeks, you'll see some additional options come along here for AML. So we'll start adding the different AML checks that you can request into the identity verification section. So now, think about the process from onboarding. We've got their name, we've got the ID check. Maybe we want to collect some data along the way. So in this case, I'm going to do the financial statements questionnaire. I want the cookie co and the financial year data. I'll give it a different name. Now, naming the forms, quite simple. Maybe I'm also going to do his tax return. So we'll do Hugo's tax return. So we'll do his individual tax return. And maybe he's got a rental property. So let's do the rental property. We'll get the rental property for his beach house. Now, the key is that you name the form so it's identifiable to the client. So with the rental property, maybe he's got 5 different rental properties. So you're going to add multiple different rental properties, one for each property. We'll also have the ITR tool. So with the ITR tool, that's like an online tax return tool. You can also upload a pre-fill for this. If they were a current client, you could obviously upload the pre-fill. This is a new client, so there's not going to be a pre-fill. But for today's example, I will upload a pre-fill document. Just give me 1 second. Demo. Upload a pre-fill, and then we can review it. Now, getting to the engagement letter part of it, you can have one or many engagement letter templates within Seamlss. The beauty of Seamlss is that you can edit the template before you send it to the client, and you can individualize every single template if you wanted to for each client. So in this case, we're going to custom the engagement letter. I can spell custom correctly. And then you can go through your terms and conditions. Maybe you've got different things, and if you want to delete some things out, you can delete them out. But as a general engagement, you could probably just leave that in there. All these engagement letters, they can click and link to the various items like the tax practitioners board. You'll get this engagement letter included with your Seamlss subscription. I'm going to assign it to a different partner and a different manager. Now with Seamlss, we also have an XPM connection. So if you're connected to XPM, you can deploy jobs. Now you can see with this person here, they are not currently clients. So I have to match them up. So Hugo is not in XPM. It hasn't matched, hasn't found him. So I can mark this as a new individual and I could create it. With the cookie co, I can do the same thing. I want to show you this one. I push it to XPM. So I'm going to leave this one not connected for the minute. You can obviously see that I can connect it. The reason why we connect it, because that's how we deploy a job to the entity within XPM. So right now, it's going to load it up, hopefully. Where did I go wrong? Close that. There we go. Sorry. So here's Hugo. So you can see I can't send a job to cookie code because I need to connect it up in Xero, but I want to show you in a minute. So I've left that for now. We use one of our job templates that's already pulled from XPM. So these are all your job templates that are in your system. So I'm going to do is ITR for 2025, and I'm going to budget at $500, and it's going to be compliance. If I want to, I can add more jobs to people. So some firms will add one job that they'll attribute all time to. Some will have one job per entity. maybe there'll be multiple jobs per main person as well. So it just depends on how your firm deploys the jobs. Seamlss can definitely help with the way that you work. So apply some information there, done. Now, I recommend you deploy it on when you're sending it, because when you send an onboarding request, the admin's going to apply time to add into the portal, downloading the pre-fills, getting the job ready, and then doing the completed onboarding process. So you can do it when the client completes it, but I recommend you do it once it's deployed. Now, let's just add the client and send it off. So we can give custom onboarding names if we want, track the onboarding by name. You can have custom email messages onto the end of the email as well. But for today, let's go add the client and send that off. Now, if you're like, oh, I want to send this to the client from my email platform, you can copy that link, put it in your Outlook, and then send it custom email to the client. They can still click on the link, and then they can get started from there. So here is my client's email. I've got the email. So the link that you copy and then you put in your own email is the same link that's here. Click on Start. Now, we use secret, smart, secure links, and then you also use a 2FA code to log in. There's no passwords in Seamlss. We want to make it really easy for all clients. Enter. That's better. Mr. Clayton Wood. Do that. Mail, address, Olive Street, Albury, same address. A valid TFN, 10-digit director ID works too, 062500, bank account, save and continue. Now we will look up the company ABN from ABR lookup. Hopefully the client also knows their ABN, so that way it'll look up their ABN directly as well. I'm going to be a bit lazy and use the same address that I used just before. Again, with TFN, I want to make sure I'm using a valid TFN. Now with bank details, I don't have bank details on marked as required for businesses, but you can mark them as required. I just don't recommend it because it's just one more barrier. And to be honest, usually you can get your client's business bank account from either their file or from the ATO. So we're now collecting the client's documents. They can drag and drop. If they're on their phone, they can take photos, they can upload information. They can type in the numbers. This form is fully customizable. So these forms that I added, you can custom and edit them to all you like. The individual and company onboarding forms and things like that, you can mark them as required or not required. But generally, they are the information that goes to XPM and your front cover of your tax return. So you kind of want to have all that information. Now, this person's sold a property. So we're going to upload all of our documents for them. Done. Thanks for coming. Continue on. And then we've got their income and deduction. So maybe they've got some interest. Yes, I've got interest. Here it is here. And then I'm going to upload my interest documents. I've got some dividends. So I'm going to upload a few dividend statements or something like that. Client can do that for you. You can also put in some crypto. Maybe they've got some crypto. I want that as well. These are all marked as required. So the client will have to answer them all if they say yes. And I'm going to just go through, click yes and no, but you get the idea. The idea is that we want to auto save all this information, and that way the client can get through the process as seamlessly as possible. Save and continue. I'm getting the ID check part now. So normally I recommend Stripe ID. So they would be on their phone, they'll do the biometrics and stuff like that. For this one, they're going to upload different documents so you can check it is who they say they are. And more importantly, you want an ATO generated document. You can check that against the ATO doc IDs and things like that. So the doc ID would be on a BAS or a note of assessment or something like that. We're nearly finished, 71% of the way there. Get to the next step. We have the ability to add another entity. So I'm still in the client screen. I can add an entity, or I can just continue on and sign, or I could go back and edit those other forms. Here is the engagement letter. So like I said, the client could click on that in the screen, open, view your terms and conditions and things like that. We want to sign that document, complete it. Super simple, super easy for the client. So from start to finish, they can get all their details in there quite easily. Now they can download the documents, go to their client portal area, get their information, but hopefully they get to this screen and they go, oh, I've got to do this agent linking. Let's go from here. So done. So your setup guide. So how do I go by agent linking as a client? Do I have my GovID? Yes. Do I have my link to the ABN? Yes. Cool. Start agent linking. If the client says no, go and set up your MyGov ID. If they say no to the ABN, go and set it up here. Step-by-step process. Go to the government's RAM, get it linked up. Makes it really easy for the clients. Nominate your agent. Here's my agent details, a step-by-step guide. It's in words, it's in pictures. It's really easy for the clients. Most of all, they can click confirm that they've done it. Now, when they update that, that sends you a notification to the firm that says, go and add him to the Xero portal. That's why we've got the TFN, so that we can add me to the portal. That is done. Now I'm going to sign out this time to make sure it works better. Delete. Now I'll come back over here, back into my Seamlss dashboard. Cool. So here it is. Clayton's done his request. I'm going to mark that as done and onboard him. So from a firm point of view, we have just sent out the request and the client's done all the job, come back, and now we're going to finish it off. So from the ID check point of view, we're going to review his ID. Yep, that looks like Clayton. What did he send? How did he do it? In person, electronically? And it looks like him. It's good. Now, you've only got 14 days to delete it. We don't keep the documents and information, and neither should you. So I'll get to the questions in a minute, but basically there is no limit on the portal storage per firm or the cost. And yes, you can see what was sent out via the audit logs. So review the ID. So here is the document. You would get the document ID from their note of assessment, something like that. Put that in there. How did they send it? That it was good, and we're going to delete the document. So now we've done the onboarding and ID check. We've added them to the Xero portal. Here is their entity. It turns out Clayton lied. He didn't do his agent linking. So we can actually send him out a reminder. So if I go back into entities and I send him a reminder, here we'll get a reminder. He clicks on the link, goes to the page, and it'll step him through the agent linking process. Forms. Here's all the forms. We can download all the documents, and you can sync that to your FYI and your Dropbox and all that sort of fun stuff. All the documents are here for the engagement letter and everything that I have generated. Like all the forms and the questions and the files, everything is in there, ready to go. You can add notes in the history. So if you want to see who sent what, here's what we sent out, and here's the times that the client's logged in. So it will log everything that they're doing as they progress through the request. At the end, you can also delete the client. Now, with the details, we've onboarded the client, we've done the request. We want to push it to XPM. So this is where we want to sync. So it will try and match and sync on different things. So is this one's matched on name by Clayton Wood, or is it this person here? No, doesn't really match. Maybe it's a new individual. So you can control the data that goes into your Xero Practice Manager to make sure that it is complete. Now, if you're on a different system like APS, you just have to copy and paste. The trick is that what's in Seamlss versus what's in XPM. So you can do nothing, you can pull, you can push, and yeah, make it really easy for yourself. I'm just going to sync and merge. Didn't like TFN. Demo data. TFN's already assigned because it's already in the system, and I'm just using demo data. Cookie code, same deal. You can do all the different entities. They'll have multiple entities here if they've got multiples. So we can sync, merge, do nothing. Maybe you want to sync it as a new entity. So sync and merge, and then it'll be in the system, and you'll be able to get started with that client in XPM. So from an onboarding request, we've now onboarded the client. What if we want to re-engage the client? So think about re-engaging as, it's going to be interesting with AML because there'll be more AML requests to be completed with when doing different engagements. But with Seamlss, for now, the key with you is to pull on that request when you want to call the job in. So it's getting to the 15th of May, pointing into the season. Clayton Wood, we want to call his job in. So we will go into Seamlss. Admin team will pop in here, review for re-engagement. Clayton wants to check the details on him and his entity. We could add some different forms. And depending on what we wanted to do at the end of the year, we could add whatever forms we wanted to call that job in. So it might be end of financial year questionnaire, might be his tax return, maybe you had a capital gain. You can add those different forms in. You can also customize the engagement letter. You can deploy a job and send it off. Once he completes that, we've got up-to-date front cover details for his tax return, name, address, bank details. We've got all the documents to start the job and then an engagement letter to get going. So that is the key with those aspects, is that we can start jobs once the data's in. We don't have to go back and forth over email and all that. It's just once the Seamlss is completed, then the job can get started. So that is engaging and re-engaging and how you can utilize the system to smooth out that whole process of getting the data to go back and forth. If you're getting to the end of a job, so we've called the job in, done the re-engagement, got halfway through it, got in the work paper, got several questions to be answered, then we're going to go for Insta fetch. So we're going to type in the client's name, and then we're going to send off the request. So simple as this one. Usually common things are we might want the loan documents for the new RAM. Now, it's likely that you're going to want them to upload documents and you want it as required. It could also be that they want bank statements. Missing bank statement, missing a bank statement. So we want your CBA number, statement number 654. And so you can keep editing those quick questions from your work paper. Hopefully the accountants have got them in there. So you just copy, paste, and then we want to send it off. So once we send that quick fetch, it goes off to the client, and then they can check and confirm that data. So if I do a quick fetch on myself, Insta fetch, on board. How many sheep have you got, Clayton? Bank statement, oops, bank statement, and I want to upload documents, send it. And it's just that easy. If I switch screens to the client view, so if you're a client and a firm owner or firm user, you can get this little button here and you can switch between them. So you can see my Insta fetch here. Here's my question. How many sheep have I got? I got 23. And you want my bank statement. I'm going to drag and drop a bank statement in there. Here it is. Finish. Done. So and then at the end, you can see I've still got all these outstanding requests, which I can go and get. So you can also see I sent myself a file. So here is an Insta send, so I can view my notice assessment for 2020-25. So if I go back to the firm view, Insta send is the opposite. So fetch means we want to collect data. Send means we want to send something. So I could just type in, again, Clayton in here, payment slip for installments. Drag and drop the file, put it in there, and then the client can access that without having to redact and password protect and everything. Again, you can see that copy the request link. I can copy that and send it via my own tool. And that allows me to send it via Outlook or something like that if I wanted to. One of the questions there, very XPM centric. We don't have any access to Handysoft databases yet. We are working to get some of them, but I think I'm not sure how much of an API they've got in their cloud base. That's why it's very centric to XPM, is because everything just syncs across the cloud. I can mark those off as done now. So that is the lead and client onboarding process. Hopefully you've kind of got an understanding from that. I'll probably jump through a few of these. I will come back to that one. So we've done agent linking. There's a guide, there's a help guide. You can utilize that. From a daily operations, that's where you're sending information to the client portal. So Insta fetch, Insta send. I'm going to come back to that one as well. So from a complete onboarding point of view, you can see that we've gone from a lead to onboarding with multiple entities, ID verification, collected documents, and done an engagement letter and deployed a job to XPM. So that is how it rolls there. Marnie's asked if there's a limit on how many Insta fetch and sends. No, it's just one request per Insta fetch and Insta send. So depending on how many you're sending per month would just determine how much pricing plan you're on. But most people seem to be pretty fine on the plan that they are on. It doesn't doesn't go exorbitantly. We do have some pretty high limits on our plans. What platform Business Edge Advisors built on? We use XPM. So, okay, next I want to go into, we want to automate with some smart links. So what does that look like? So what is a smart link? A link is a creation tool where you can put it anywhere. And this is where what Reedy was asking about earlier, within Seamlss, where can I put these forms and where can I integrate it on my WordPress website? So you can utilize smart links. The beauty of a smart link is you can put it anywhere. So we're going to clients, we'll go to client smart links, and you can see I've got a few here created already. The FBT one is a classic where you can get FBT information from your clients really, really easily if you like to. Now, what does that look like? I think I've got one just here. So I'm going to do an FBT webinar very soon. But you can see here on my website for Business Edge, we sent out a mass BCC email to all of our clients, and had the blog and had the links to start their FBT return, talking about getting it done before FBT season starts. And this is a client smart link. The client reads the blog and says, oh, I need to do an FBT return. They click here, they sign in, and then they start filling in the form. Completing the nil FBT return for us makes our process a lot easier. How do we build that? Very, very easily. There is a little help guide here, and I'll show you that in a minute. But basically, we have the landing page. In this case, for an FBT form, we don't need entities. We don't need individuals. We don't need an ID check. We just want the FBT questionnaire filled out. You don't even need an engagement letter. That's it. So when we send that link to a client, they are just filling out that one form. Versus if you're onboarding. So if you're onboarding a client, you might send them to your onboarding link and you want them to add in their individual details. You want them to be able to add or edit their own entities, because if they're already in the system as an individual, maybe you want to add the entities for them. It's a new individual onboarding client. We want to do an ID check. Maybe in this case, we're not doing forms. We just want to onboard them. And we want them to sign an engagement letter. So if someone clicks on that onboarding link, that's what will happen. On the flip side, maybe we're doing tax returns. So where Reedy was saying about WordPress, you could put this tax return link on your WordPress website. When someone sits on the website, they click on this on the website and they'll be taken to this screen. And then from here, they start onboarding themselves and they start the process, just like I did before, where they'll go through all those items that you have set up. So if it's a tax return, you can set up your landing page. We don't need entities. We just want an individual tax return. And they're going to fill out the tax return information. The ID check is questionable. So if you have a new client link, you might have ID checks on. If you have just a general ITR link, maybe you send the ID checks once they've onboarded. And then it's a matter whether you want to use the ITR tool or whether you want to use the income and deductions form. And then maybe you got a tax return engagement letter. So they're all going to sign that. So that's the beauty of a smart link. It's very powerful. You can put it in an email. I was talking to a firm this week. They're sending it out via SMSs. So they're getting the smart link, put it in an SMS and sending it out, and the client clicks on it, and then they start that process from an SMS. So you can see here in the help guide, there is help guides all throughout the Seamlss website. Scroll down here. There's a video of me talking about smart links in detail, how to set it all up, how does it look, and then obviously how to make it a success, make it easy, make it shareable. I want to put it as a QR code. I want to make it embedded on my website. Maybe I want to put it as an email campaign, SMS, Zapier. There are so many different ways you can use these smart links. It's awesome. So with the tax planning, for example, before I have a tax planning meeting, I send them the tax planning form. They fill it out so that way I can prepare for the meeting knowing what they're looking for and what they're after. And that's basically how it's going to roll for me with tax planning. Is they do the form, I prepare for the meeting, I deliver the tax planning outcomes when I meet the clients. So the forms, there's a whole different bunch of forms within the app. So we give you a bunch of templates. If you want some forms built, by all means, please send them through to me. I'm happy to help build some out. I've built a couple this week for firms. Send them through so we can make them better and better all the time. But you can see there's a lot of forms there for you to use. Editing the forms, super straightforward and easy. Put in the name, give it a title. You can give it a description. and then you can edit it. So we can edit the different information, the form type, what does it look like, where does it sit, is it up above or down below, however you want that form to look. You can also have some conditional requirements if you want to, when this happens, do this. So hide and show based on the actions of the client. Obviously, you can sort all the forms, but there's a whole bunch of different things you can do with the forms and things like that. Templates, just generically go through the templates. Oh, I should go back on track, shouldn't I? So where can you use these? As I said, direct links, Zapier, payments. So I have some people where they've put it on Stripe, so the person pays and then it triggers and sends them to the smart link and starts that process. So for me, someone can pay for tax planning via Calendly, and then they get the tax planning link. We'll go into integrations and settings and things like that you can use now. So document-wise, have one or many engagement letters. The idea with that is that you can customize it each time you send it out, and I think that's crucial. Put in the links to this the TPB's requirement. You're supposed to give this to every client, so make sure you've got that link in your engagement letter. And then obviously go through your terms and conditions, your scopes, your debt collection, all those different policies around AI and apps, outsourced engagements that you might have, and have all that in there so that you're ticking your engagement letter box off. From a settings point of view, this is what I was talking about. So you can customize it for your firm so it's visually appealing to the client. These are the forms that I was talking about that you can edit and make them required. So with the individuals, I recommend you have date of birth marked as required, because we need that to add them for the tax agent portal. Bank details, same deal. And then TFNs I mark as required. Lock bank account, that's an interesting one. So if you've got outsourced team members, maybe you don't want them playing with the client's bank account. So you can lock the bank account for those users. So the only person that can change a bank account is either an admin or the actual client themselves. Put in your agent linking details, and then the ITR tool, you can edit all of the options here. I do have a detailed help guide and video on the ITR tool in the app, and you can go through and edit and formalize it for your firm. So not everyone does fee from refund, so they like to disable that option. Now, going through integrations, you asked about which ones we do have. Yes, we have XPM. You can sync your clients. You can sync all your templates. Zapier, so you can fire out things automatically. FYI for document storage. Ignition, you can just use the smart links to put into your Ignition to trigger those off. Logit, you can export all your client information and pick it up and place it into Logit, so you can create the entities and clients in Logit quite easily. Obviously, Dropbox, Google Drive, and SharePoint. You'll be happy to know in the next few weeks, the Suite Files update will come out, so you'll be able to use Suite Files automatically as well. Have as many users you want Seamlss. We don't have a per user model. It's a per request model on pricing. Have all your notifications set up. The data center is where you can import and sort your clients from within Seamlss. Again, some big updates coming to that very soon, but allows you to add clients to Seamlss. Reports, pretty simple and straightforward. How many requests have I done lately? That'll tell you all about it. How many ID checks, things like that. So the setup is fairly straightforward. If you want to set it up, you can get integration partners to assist. You can get us to assist. There is a whole bunch of help and guidance to set up your firm. There is a video of me doing it in the whole 12 minutes. So if you want to get set up using Seamlss, it really is that easy. Now, if I go down to the bottom here, there is a YouTube channel. Again, all these videos like today's gets posted onto Seamlss. I've had several questions in the thing around AML. I will get to that very, very soon. Now, there is a bunch of AML webinars that you can watch online. The latest one, I think, is probably the best one. We talk about different things, and we go through the latest AUSTRAC documentation with you and for you. If you want help onboarding, there is an onboarding option. It's $1,500. It includes a couple of training sessions, and we'll set it all up for you. So that is that area there. Security-wise, it's passwordless. It's all 2FA, MFA for security. All the data is hosted in Australia. No data goes over the email except for those smart links. We track and audit all the history and stuff for you. That is how Seamlss rolls. Now, the pricing it is only $600 for the year for 1,200 requests. Now, one request could be Clayton, he's 5 entities in the engagement letter. That is still just one request. It could also be one fetch request or send request. So an Insta request, that's still one request. Now, 1,200 requests, if you've got more than 1,200 clients, you're probably still not going to use all 1,200. I generally see that most firms have a few hundred client groups. That would be a few hundred requests. So my recommendation to most firms, you want to get started onboarding and engaging, start on the essential plan. If you need to go up, we'll let you know. Based on feedback though, the $600 is very good value because you'll probably save that within all of the time working with your team. Now, if you want to do monthly, you can do monthly. It's $60 a month. That's for 100 requests a month. If you just start a trial and you need a bit longer, reach out. We'll give you a bit more time. So I'll go through a couple of quick questions here. Go back to the start. With tranche 2, we'll be removing engagement letter. Will you remove the engagement letter from the onboarding process, since I think you'll need to do a risk assessment before they sign on and pursue that work? I think that'll just be determined by the firm on how they're going to do the onboarding request. I think that it will be interesting whether you do the engagement letter. The engagement letter isn't an agreement to do work. It's an agreement that you can do stuff with their information, add them to the portal, verify they are who they say they are, do those tranche 2 requirements, and they're agreeing to your terms and conditions. So that would be an interesting one, Damon. I think I'd still get them to sign the engagement letter. I'm not saying that I'm going to do their work for them. I'm just saying that they're giving me authority that I can do what I need to do with the information they're giving me. There's no limit on the portal storage. Is there a limit to Insta fetch and send? No, you can use that for as much as you want. Yes, I built my website on WordPress. Under AML laws, we may not want to take on a client depending on what they say. Can we have a client link on our website to have an initial meeting? I'm not sure if you were at the start there, Paul, but I would recommend having a lead link. Maybe that's one I'll build for next demo. But yeah, add a lead link for AML initial client check. So you're probably not going to say that. So new client discovery. Welcome, please review. And then we could add our lead form. So we might have a AML lead form, Paul, that asks those questions. So it might be designated service questions risk assessment. Probably not going to write that to the client, but you get the idea. Thanks for coming. Put in your email, and then back home, return home. Because obviously you don't want them to book in, Paul, if you want them to fill out that form. But obviously triaging them through that process, that'll allow you to get that AML questionnaire out to the client, and then you can review whether you want to engage them. What's the plan for AML and Compliance Hub? Yep, so we're aiming to get more into there ASAP. So there'll be definitely more in the AML, especially around the questions and the ID checks and PEP and sanctions and all that sort of checks that we need to do now. There's a lot more being developed in the background to come towards that very, very soon. If someone from a high-risk country under AML laws, it'll be a different set of questions. Yeah, Paul, I think it's Paul talking to probably, but Paul, the key with that will also be around the risk assessment questionnaire that I want built into Seamlss. So there's more on that coming. I don't want to give too much away, but once Daniel's built it, it'll be able to make it a lot easier for you to do those risk assessments and determine whether you want to deal with those clients from those risky customers. Yeah. Everything takes time to build, but let's go. It's coming. By risk tier per AML rules. Yeah, so that's one of the parts that I'm building out with Daniel at the moment, is to identify those risks so that you can assess how you want to progress forward with them. So yeah, Daniel is a legend. Yes, he's built pretty much all of this that you can see now. So other questions? You've got lots of questions. Keep them coming. I think the overall thing from today, I want you to hope you realize the key is to find those pain points within your business. So if you have a problem triaging clients and getting those A-grade clients to fit in your box, use the leads, use the lead links to triage those clients and say, do I want to work with this person? Yes or no? let's go onboard them. If you're getting new to Seamlss, start onboarding. That is pretty key. Managing partner, is there just the users in the system, or are they pulled from XPM? No, they're two different systems. The users in your XPM, the users in Seamlss are not connected. We are working towards possibly some links there at some point, but they are not yet connected, but that is something that's coming very soon. I think that's what you're asking, Damien. Is it going to sync up and down? That is in the next update. It's very, very close. Yeah, so I think if you can start doing the onboarding with leads, go from leads, start onboarding. If you're just new to Seamlss, onboarding is going to be crucial to eliminate a lot of that time. If you're already onboarding clients, start re-engaging the clients. So when you're calling those jobs in. So I think Business Edge, we're almost at 70% lodgements, and most of that is down to Seamlss just calling in the jobs. So when the team calls the job in, they go into Seamlss, they send out the request, the client confirms all their details, they give us all the documents, they sign the engagement letter, and then the job gets started. Once the job gets started, we then send out Insta fetch requests to get that document information from the client. And I truly believe that that is one of the key reasons. Yes, I have an amazing team, don't get me wrong, but Seamlss has allowed us to streamline that whole process of starting jobs and gotten us to that 70% range where we're at right now. Can you bulk send these requests? Not yet, but the bulk sending function is kind of built into the client smart links. So George, you can put that link anywhere and it will just start the requests. You can also put it into Zapier if you want to zap off a bunch of requests at once. You can load up that request into Zapier with the people and it'll just trigger and fire them all off to the people in bulk. Yes, hopefully that helps and makes sense. So bulk here. Yep. And I think the key with the smart links is it's triggering it on your terms, not the client just going, oh, I just want to send. I just don't understand how someone can send out 500 requests and just wait for them to come out. I don't know how you map out your job flow when you've sent out that many requests at once. But if you send out the emails and they click on the links, they'll come in when you want to. Should we use Practice Ignition if we're already using it and then push to Seamlss for ID? Ignition will do the proposal. It can deploy the jobs and it can collect the money, but it doesn't collect the information on the clients. So with Ignition, that's why you have an Ignition onboarding link. So they can go from Ignition proposal accepted, next steps. So in the settings under templates there, you'll see next step screen. In the next step screen, put a link to your onboarding request. The client will click on the link and then they can start onboarding themselves. So for example, they'll go from Ignition, come to this part here, they put their details in and then they start adding entities and then they start that onboarding process. So you don't, it's kind of hard to describe, but yeah, you can link from Ignition to Seamlss, but it's just via that link to automate it. If you want, you can go from Zapier, Ignition link accepted, Zapier will trigger the request and send them to this page as well if you want to. Put in carbon requests too. Yeah, it's a link. You can literally put it anywhere you can put a link. So you can turn it into a QR code, put it on a piece of paper, put it on your front window. It's just a link. It will just trigger based on the person that clicks on the link. So yeah, carbon. And that's what I was saying, like SMSs, anything, anywhere you want to put it, it can pretty much be embedded into that process as a link. I get it, it's probably pretty long for some people, so that's why I recommend using tools like Bitly and Google to shorten the link to make it shorter. Like if you're using SMS, you don't want a really long link, you want to shorten it down and make it really simple. So utilize those tools to make that happen. Any other questions? Don't be shy. Whether it's platform related or process related, don't be shy. I'm happy to answer them. That's why we're here. Talk through those processes with the team. Yeah, and I think I'm running out of things to say. So I appreciate everyone's time, but yeah, keep an eye out. I think the next AML webinar, I'll just post the link up in the chat. If you want to sign up to the next webinar for AML, there is a lot of AML questions around. I am hoping that we have the ability to show off more of the webinar AML in that webinar, in that process that we're going to deliver. No pressure on Dan, but let's go. Yeah, so more and more to come. Really excited. It's very much excited for the future with Seamlss. So yeah, appreciate it. If you want more, go to the website and start for free. Like seriously, it's easy. My boss hates change. Realistically, how hard? Pay me to do it. I'll help you do it. Really, it's a 12-minute video. Seriously, it's not. I don't think it's hard, but I am super tech savvy. I have a double degree in IT and accounting, so I am like full nerd. So for me, it's really easy. But like, there is a video of me for 12 minutes going through the step-by-step process. It's really not that hard. But in saying that, there is a button here. You can get me to help onboard for you. It's not super expensive. Like, I've seen firms pay $2,000, $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 to implement software. I will come in, I'll set up your smart links, your lead links, help you connect it, help train you. You'll walk away with 2 different training sessions and help you optimize those things. So if you're really hating that change, Marnie, I can help you guide you through that change. But seriously, the $600 and the saving you will get will far outweigh that little bit of change. Because right now, I have no doubt, you're just like everyone else. It's a PDF, it's an email, it's a spreadsheet, something that's going manually back and forth, taking more time, phone calls to the client, very disjointed. Maybe it's going from one app to another app to another app. That process is just not seamless. And that's the whole point of Seamlss, is to make it smooth, make it one easy process for you and the client. And the boss doesn't even need to know, because he's probably not the one doing it. So hopefully that helps. Appreciate everyone's time. If you have any questions, you can always email me. Just send it to contact@seamlss.com.au. There is a big old help contact here. But yeah, if you want to get started, start for free on the website. Appreciate everyone's time. And I'll see you all at the next webinar in a few weeks. If you really want an FBT webinar, let me know. I'll step through the FBT guide again this year. I think it was really good last year. We managed to score, I think it was about 10 extra nil FBT returns on the year before, and that was a really simple, easy process. So my goal is to do that in the next 2-3 weeks, to do the FBT one. So appreciate it. Thanks, everyone. Thanks for your time. See you all soon. Thank you.